All right, well, welcome to another edition of Pursue the Hunt Live. I'm your host, Mike Friesen, and we are here with a special guest today, Joanne Turchanski, and we're really excited. It's another part in our Women in Hunting series. So, yeah, thanks for being on the show today.
Welcome.
Yeah, okay, so let's introduce the audience a little bit to you, and just so that they get to know you a bit better. So, tell us about yourself, how long you've been into hunting. Let's start there.
Okay, so I was born and raised on a ranch up in Pink Mountain, just a couple hours north of here.
Okay.
So grew up around hunting. We ate wild game and everything all my life. I just never actually hunted myself until I met my husband and got my hunting license in, I think, 2009.
Oh, okay, so
And it
not
was
terribly long ago.
No, it was because of Dave. He said, why don't you get your license so we can go do these adventures together?
Yeah.
I said, are you sure? Because what if I enjoy it as much as you do?
So did that happen?
Let's do it. Oh yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So okay, so then is that kind of what drives, the continuance of the hunting and stuff? Is that you guys can do it together and enjoy
100%.
that?
It's his passion for the mountains and the outdoors
Mm-hmm.
and the hunting and the meeting people and all that. But it's mainly for me, it's that we get to do that together.
Mm-hmm.
Experience all those things together.
So on a hunt, like kind of what is your favorite aspect of the hunt? Is it getting to harvest the animal? Is it the challenge of the different kinds of hunts? Like what kind of intrigues that spark every time?
Well, specifically about sheep hunting, since that's my main spark, you could say. It's like the scenery, being in the mountains, experiencing that together. The harvesting the animal, of course, is what you're working for, and it's work.
Yeah.
So you got to be mentally prepared, physically prepared. I don't know. It's just the mountains is like a calming place for my soul.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like going out because it's a chance for me to unplug.
Yeah.
And just turn the phone off. I know for me, like I'm guilty of, first couple of nights, wake up in the tent, I actually check my phone for emails, just that kind of out of habit. It's like, right, I'm not there and stuff. So, so would you then say you're more of like that backcountry type of hunter where, you are packing in, maybe on horses or something as well. But
yeah, if you're lucky enough to have horses, that's great. They can get you a lot further into these majestic places.
Yeah.
Then you can get there on foot too. But
so have you done
usually I'm on a time crunch because of my holidays from work.
Okay.
So yeah, if we have horses or we're boating in because we have river boats.
Okay.
Or we've flown in on some occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
So kind of what's available. So you've done the hike-ins, you've done the course.
Strictly backpack.
Yeah.
Hunting out of a cabin. Yeah. Tents.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. So what's your longest hunt that you've been out in the backcountry on?
Probably the Rocky Mountain Bighorns.
Okay. Now was that with an outfitter?
Rewind a little bit. So Dave got drawn for the BC Premier's Special Sheep Tag.
Okay.
In 2012 for the 2013 season. So it's an extended. Are you familiar with that? Okay.
Yeah. Well, why don't you explain it for the audience?
So it's a special resident draw. There's two tags. One goes to the auction at Wild Sheep Foundation, and then there's one for a resident in BC. So it's kind of like winning the lottery for sheep hunting.
It's pretty sweet.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
So he got drawn for that, and then he bought me the auction tag.
Okay.
As a surprise at the Wild Sheep Foundation convention.
So you had two tags in the same season.
Yes, the only two for the season.
Yeah.
All he needed to complete his Grand Slam was the Rocky Mountain Bighorn.
Okay.
I didn't have one yet, so we decided we're going to both hunt bighorns. So that, like, if there's ever a favorite hunt, that's probably the bighorn hunt, because the chances I think of that happening again are very slim.
Right. That
a couple would both be hunters, hunting sheep, and have both tags in the same season.
And both successful. On that hunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So as you started getting into hunting, so 2009, so that's 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So during that span, you're working towards, I know we were talking before the interview, towards your North American 30. So how far along are you in that?
So I'm halfway.
Okay.
I have, I think, exactly 15 now.
Okay, so 15 and 11 years. So that's hunting pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's pretty
and
good.
And I've been super lucky
Yeah.
to be successful on the first time most times.
Well, you got to be lucky to be good, and good to be lucky. I think, anyways. Yeah. So you're halfway there. So what are some of those things then, as you've been kind of pushing towards this North American 30? What have you kind of learned about hunting and things that you've picked up along the way, like maybe some challenges that you've overcome or something like that?
You're always stronger than you think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good one.
Mentally, as well as physically, because specifically sheep hunting pushes you further than you think you can go almost every time.
Yeah.
Whether it's just in the waiting game, because that's half of what sheep hunting is too, is the glassing and waiting for the perfect shot, or waiting to find that ram, or waiting for weather to pass, or whatever.
And
it's just...
And that's some of the things, people overlook the mental game. Like a lot of times they physically prepare, they're hitting the gym year round and stuff, and they get up there and, they're impatient and they can blow a chance or something like that.
Right.
And, we were on a hunt last year, and for me, it was the flapping of that stupid tarp we had up. Like the wind was relentless and it would not stop flapping and I couldn't sleep.
That could be a mental
And then
challenge.
when you wake up and you got to cover lots of kilometers and you're glassing it just over the days it can definitely draw.
Yeah. And even on like bad weather days, that can be mentally challenging for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like just not only in sheep hunting, because I've been also pretty lucky with that, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think about when we were on Kodiak Island. I've been there twice for a Kodiak bear. Haven't got one yet, but in a tent, same thing, kind of a backpack style hunt. The second time we were there, and the wind just... Like you're sitting on the mountain glassing, looking for bears.
Yeah.
I kind of relate it to sheep hunting that way too. Just the amount of hours you spend glassing is majority of your time. The actual stock of that animal, same with sheep hunting, is very little, really.
What time of the year did you go to Kodiak Island?
In the spring. Well, we went in the fall the first time, and then we went in the spring the second.
So the days are fairly long, so you get lots of hunting time, which can definitely draw on the physical.
Yeah, or sitting in rain, or just all those sorts of things is what I say when I say prepare yourself mentally, because all that is what affects my brain.
So is there anything that you do to prepare yourself mentally when you're not out there, but like before you leave? Is there anything that you do specifically?
Just kind of, I guess, the anticipation of the specific hunt you're planning for.
Okay.
Whether it's a sheep hunt or, like I was talking about, bear hunting, but...
What are some of your physical preparedness routines?
The day-to-day, gym,
Yeah.
put on a pack, go for a hike, go for a snowshoe, all that stuff,
Yeah, well, and it kind of has to be that year-round kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, hunting season doesn't wait for you. When it's time to go, it's time to go. And
sometimes you got to talk yourself to the top of that mountain.
So what was your first backcountry hunt? Like, was it a sheep hunt? Or...
I got deer not far from here. Was my first...
But maybe like your first like mountain trip.
I guess we went to the Arctic for a caribou. One of the first big trips I went on.
Okay. And what was an eye opener about maybe that first experience being out there?
I'll skip that one and go to my first sheep hunt because that was the second big hunt, which was my desert sheep on Tiburon Island in Mexico. And it's just totally different than here. The terrain is different. The shrubs, everything wants to bite you, cuts you. Dave was leaving a blood trail from things scratching the arms. It's like walking on marbles kind of thing. Everything's different. It was great. I loved it. We were with great people. Still friends with them today. And obviously successful. Got my desert sheep. I think within the first 4 days.
So what was... It
wasn't long, but just very different. The heat. I'm a northern girl. I was not used to, that was the biggest challenge for me on that hunt. It was the heat. And hiking in the heat, sitting there glassing in the heat. Yeah.
So again, it kind of transitioned, well, it's both physical and mental, but dealing with those environmental elements was definitely a trying thing. Yeah. For sure. So are you bow, rifle, crossbow?
Rifle.
Okay.
Only.
Okay. So what do you shoot then?
I shoot a Gunworks 7mm.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a custom one for me years ago. I've shot everything with it.
It's a nice all-around
except for the
caliber,
polar
so.
bear and my cat, but
Okay.
yeah.
So let's
Make sure we don't
transition
get
into the
stopped.
polar bear then, because that's something I think is super unique. So what was the experience of the polar bear hunt? Like when did you go? Do you remember?
So yeah, we went in March of 2015, 16. Yeah, I shot at Easter 2016.
Okay.
Flew into Clyde River on Baffin Island,
Okay.
and then snowmobiled from there.
How many days was the hunt?
A weekish.
A
Like I think
weekish.
we were only 5 days or
Yeah.
so, but it was about a 10-day trip altogether.
Okay.
So not long, but cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of layers.
Oh yeah, you can never ever have enough layers for the Arctic.
So did you see a lot of bears, or was it kind of one that you were tracking?
No, we saw quite a few.
Okay.
Like some smaller ones, or a sow with some cubs.
Mhm.
I remember one sow had 2 or 3 cubs running across. But the main thing is the sea ice is not smooth and not flat. So we were on snow machines. Dave had rented a sled for us to double on,
Okay.
so that we didn't have to ride in a little wooden sleigh behind the native
snow
people and
spray.
bang across the ice.
Yeah.
Which he did on his hunt, but I was glad we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
we were sleeping in tents. Well, I lied. They were sleeping in tents out there, and we were in a little 8x12 garden shed kind of thing.
Okay. With a
So-
wooden stove and
Oh no,
oh
there's no wood anywhere.
yeah, that's fair.
There's ice.
That's
so we
fair.
were camped on land, like we'd go kind of out in the Hudson Bay on the ice. I think 55 kilometers from land is the furthest point we went to.
Okay.
But we always camped on the land at night, and they have like the Coleman stove that you
Mhm.
take, but they have white gas because it doesn't freeze.
Okay.
Everything they use is white
Yeah.
gas, and that was our heat in the little garden shed that we
So
slept
you
in.
slept in a lot of layers.
Yes. So it's just like you turn on the burner to heat up your small space, which I was glad it wasn't any bigger because it did get actually semi-warm in there.
Yeah.
But you definitely sleep in a good sleeping bag with a bivy sack on top.
Yeah.
And I slept in like down layers and a toque and
Yeah.
socks.
So did you find though, like, did you ever have to like hike, or was it just mostly
Oh, no.
snow machines?
Snow machines.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it wasn't like you were
spot and
hiking and
stop.
building up a sweat or anything like that, because
No.
that could get
Spot and
pretty
stock,
chilly.
and kind of they started traveling the pressure ridges.
Okay.
Where the ice comes together
Yeah.
and then goes back and leaves, because that's what the bears travel, looking for seals. I guess at that time of year.
Okay.
Actually, we did see where they had clearly just gotten one seal.
Oh,
That's all.
okay. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And so this, so were you following kind of one particular bear that you had found for a couple days, or was it that day you saw it and you were able
That
to
day.
harvest it?
Saw it, gone on it,
Do you remember how far the shot was?
150 yards.
Well, that's not
The
too
most.
bad.
No.
That's not too
We did have dogs with us because they use the dogs to kind of, typically they'll release a couple of the dogs to attract the bear to keep it just from walking straight away from you, because it's not flat, but it's not,
Not
they don't have a lot of cover either.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's a neat.
they don't run, like a big boar can't run physically, but they definitely move quickly
Yeah.
away from you. So they'll just use the dogs. We didn't have the dogs right with us when we spotted my bear, so I didn't actually get to use them on my hunt, but
Okay.
we did have them. And
So how about some of the local experiences? Like, did you get to kind of submerge yourself in a little bit of that culture?
yeah, when we were in we stayed at the only hotel in the village,
Okay.
which was an ACO trailer, and we were the only people in it. So they kind of gave us the key to the front door, and you let yourself in and out.
Pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we went to the local store. It's like the northern store. They have them in all of the Arctic communities, and it's just you get to see the people, and they can spot out of towners
Oh, I imagine.
right now.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
all coming up trying to sell you their homemade hats or mitts or
Okay.
earrings or
Yeah.
the little kids outside the grocery store smoking the cigarette.
Yeah.
butts.
Hospitable? Like, did you get to try some of the local food dishes even?
No thanks.
No? that wasn't for you?
No, they definitely took all the bear meat back though. They
Okay,
were they take it back to the elders in the village that
Yeah.
can't get out and hunt anymore or
Okay.
don't. So very, very concerned that they used all that
Yeah.
harvest.
And you basically got to keep the skull
And the hide, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, I think that's a super unique hunt. So, okay, let's transition to sheep, because that's what I'm super excited to talk about. So, you have your slam.
Yes.
So, maybe just explain what the slam is and what's involved with the slam.
It's the 4 wild sheep of North America recognized by Boone and Crockett. So, there's 2 thin horn and 2 bighorn. There's a desert bighorn and a Rocky Mountain bighorn.
Mm-hmm.
And a Dall sheep and a stone sheep are the thin horns.
Okay, so as you can see in the background, we've got your stone sheep, which is the really beautiful dark. Cake. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And then up there is your Dall,
really
wide set, which is super cool. And then right here is the bighorn, which is also, this is a replica here.
Yeah.
So, talking about the sheep then, which would you say was your most challenging sheep hunt out of the 4?
They're all challenging.
Fair enough. So I do. You harvested the stone in the winter,
Yeah, because I was talking about the BC Premier tag earlier.
right?
So I got drawn for the BC Premier tag in 2017 for the 18-19 season.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what I harvested the stone sheep on.
Which month did you harvest that one on?
January.
Oh wow, like really late.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after the rut, like typically that's the special thing about that tag is sheep hunters like to hunt sheep in the rut, which you can never do in the normal season.
Right.
So, but we hunted for 33 days for that run. Not consecutively, but throughout my tag season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to obviously deal with deep snow.
Oh yeah.
And things like that. So was it snowshoe?
Yes.
Were you able to fly in with planes with skis a little bit, or how did you access areas?
We hunted in 5 different areas in BC over the course of that tag.
Okay.
So starting in July, as soon as the tag opened. So just backpack, hike in, see what you see, kind of thing. And then we flew in a couple times to different areas and used horses there. And then on the actual where I got this one, it was in January, so yeah, we were snowshoeing. We snowmobiled in, and then snowshoed from the bottom. As far as we could.
How difficult was snowshoeing up a mountain, though?
Over deadfall.
Like it must have been really sweet when you actually took that sheep.
Oh.
And part of it was probably like, okay, it's over, because I mean that's a long hunting season for a sheep.
Yeah.
But 2, I mean, just the physicality of hiking in snowshoes up a mountain.
Because sheep are smart, they're on the windswept clear side of the mountain where there is no snow, so we had to go up on the back side where all the snow had blown over.
Sure.
So it was thigh high in some places.
Did you have some help carrying your pack, or did you pack the whole thing?
No, I packed my own. It's because another really cool part about this, since we're doing the Women in Hunting show, is this part's not cool. Dave was there, but his right leg was broken. His Achilles was torn.
Oh, that doesn't help.
So he was sitting at the bottom of the mountain, keeping the snow machine warm and glassing, watching as we went, and keeping the sheep kind of knowing where they were in relation to where we were. And my girlfriend Glenda Grote, she is a sheep guide also, so she came up the mountain with me.
Okay, so you tandemed up there together.
Yeah, so we snowshoed up together until it got too steep for the snowshoes, and I was sliding backwards more than going forward, so I ended up taking them off, using them as trekking poles, gave her my trekking poles, and went up, and then,
So she didn't have trekking poles?
No.
Oh. Man, I tell you, when I started using trekking poles, I do not leave home without them. So that's a really challenging aspect. And so, are you a person that gets really super stoked when you get an animal, or are you more reserved? Like,
I'm really thankful that I am how I am. I don't get even excited. Like, people look at me like, "We're about to stop this animal. Aren't you excited?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm not like.
You kind of keep your cool.
Yeah. I'm really thankful for that, because otherwise, maybe some of my shots wouldn't be quite as accurate as they could.
Being steady is a good thing.
Yeah, as soon as I shoot and know that animal is successfully harvested, I'm just.
You get the shakes.
Oh my God.
And that's one of those things, like, as a hunter, I hope that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Right? You don't lose that excitement because, like, all these animals have their own unique story, and, like, you should get excited about them because it's such a unique, each one is such a unique opportunity, even if it's just a whitetail or if it's sheep or something, and so, okay, so that's the stone. So what would you say was your most exciting one? Like, which one did you love the most?
I can't pick.
They're probably all awesome.
They are. Like, everything was just so different. The desert was
okay, well then let's
exciting.
talk about the doll then.
Yeah.
So was that up in the Northwest Territories?
No, that was in the Yukon.
Okay.
With Mac Watson.
Okay.
And that was exciting too, because I got him at 8:30 at night on the last day of my hunt.
Yeah.
That was a horseback hunt.
Okay.
So we horsebacked and it was hot. It was like plus 20, 25 Celsius in August in the Yukon.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Long days.
Beautiful country. Very long days. But we had a great time. And thought they were all gone because we saw a bunch of sheep kind of going down and leaving the valley. So we were like, okay, well, I guess that's it. We've got to get back to the horses. And I turned around. I was like, told my guide, I see some more sheep coming back up now. Did you already look at those? So he turned around and looked and was like, oh my God, no. So we had to go back a ways and kind of race them to the top to get above them so that when they came up, that's what happened. We got above them and set up in time. And then they came feeding up because we thought that they were just moving out and over the top. But they were just slowly feeding.
Yeah.
After we saw them when we were trying to boot it around. So,
yeah, well, and I mean, it's with sheep, especially with their eyesight and everything like that, to be able to sneak up on a sheep and get above it and all that.
That's the thing about this one. So there was 60-something other sheep around on that hillside there. We saw once we came over, ewes and lambs and lots of young rams. But even all of them, like, it was just so cool, that part of sitting there waiting for, because he was with 3 or 4 other rams, waiting for them to kind of get up to where we could see them. But just watching the ewes and lambs bounding around. Just, to me, that is all part of sheep hunting. That's what I love.
Well, you can kind of just take it in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there are moments where you're like, okay, I'm hunting, and you kind of don't, realize the surroundings because you're focused on something. But when you get to sit on that hillside and you're looking down a draw or something, you're like, wow, first of all, I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? Where maybe some places you get to go, there hasn't been other people and stuff like that, which is a super unique aspect, especially for, the sheep type of species where you have to earn it. I mean, I'm not saying every animal isn't earned, but definitely when you speak to people
when you see
about
where these
sheep,
things live, the reason
sure.
some of them live as long as they do.
Well, and even goat hunting, right? It's like how they suction cup to the side of the cliff face. It's crazy. So okay, so we're getting near the end here. Is there any specific personal challenges you felt like you've overcome in these last 11 years? Like physical challenges, like maybe like I can't do this hunt. Like things where you just felt mentally broken down, where you had to push, over your own ridge.
I think the biggest thing is I've found my grit.
Okay.
I've thought I can't do this, and then it's like you got to push past that.
Yeah.
Because you realize, no, I really do want to do this, and just learn to appreciate the places you're in while you're there.
Yeah, and almost use it as a motivator in a sense to get that grit.
Soak in the whole experience.
Yeah.
While you have it. Don't try to rush through it and just want to get to the harvesting of the animal.
Yeah.
But really appreciate the whole experience.
So do you typically then, when you're out in the backcountry, if you see something legal, do you go right after it? Or do you be like, well, it's only day 2 of like a 10-day hunt, let's just wait? Like, are you kind of like, get it done and then enjoy the rest of the days? Or do you like to kind of maybe draw it out?
I like to... Well, like Dave's always said, we're always looking for a good representative of the species. If we already have that, we're looking for something better. I'm never going to shoot something less than what I already have, as far as a score or whatever.
Right.
So,
well, that's fair. Yeah, and I mean, it's some people are more the bird in the hand, as we're 2 in the bush, and if it's day 1 and they see a legal ram, regardless of the score, if maybe they don't have one or whatever, they'll harvest that. A
lot of that part depends to me on age too, though, because I'm definitely more about taking the older one than I am the biggest one.
Well, and I think
that is sometimes.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a sign of maturity, though, right? It's where it's like, sometimes it is about not pulling the trigger, right? And it's like, if maybe the guide says it's a good ram, but you know, there are better ones in the area.
Right.
It's like, you know, you could take that because it's legal and ethical, or we could try to get you something better. And I think it's a maturity in the hunter,
Right.
you know, that will make that decision where you don't get all just ramped up and excited, but you kind of process the situations.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show today, and yeah, we'll just look forward to more in this series on the women in hunting. So thanks for watching.